Welcome to the Surrender Spectrum, InTune with Travis Anthony Johnson. In this episode, we're going to discuss the power of time. What it takes to truly heal from the things that weigh us down. In my experience, I suffer from mental health issues that cause my ego to always be loud in the present moment and have me believe that nothing changes, even though when I think back to my progress over the past year since my last relapse, I notice exceptional changes. Fear tries to creep up and get me to give in and result back to my default way of dealing with things through drugs and alcohol. But for today, that's simply not an option for me, because the thing that I thought gave me ease and comfort was actually the thing that was causing my mental deterioration. It doesn't help having fragmented ego voices telling me that it will never go away either, but I mean, the proof is in my experience. Things have gotten a lot better over time and will continue to do so. The body it's really a resilient thing. The human body is one of nature's greatest demonstrations of resilience. Every moment it's engaged in quiet repair, cells dying, renewing, and reorganizing in a rhythm older than memory. The skin you wear today will almost entirely be replaced within a month, and the lining of your gut within days, and the bones in your body, rebuilt over a decade. Time is the unseen collaborator in this process. It allows biology the space to remember wholeness. From a scientific perspective, healing is a symphony of cellular intelligence. After injury, the immune system sends macrophages to clear debris, fibroblasts to rebuild tissue, and stem cells awaken dormant blueprints of regeneration. Proteins like collagen weave scaffolds, and electrical microcurrents help guide tissue repair. A reminder that even our cells communicate in energy and time. From a holistic lens, the body mirrors the seasons. Inflammation is winter's contraction. Repair is spring's renewal. Strengthening is summer's abundance. And remodeling is autumn's balance. Emotional calm, rest, and faith all enhance this rhythm. When we align our pace with nature's, instead of forcing immediate recovery, time becomes medicine. Every scar tells a story, not just of what was broken, but of what refused to stay that way. Healing it's not the reversal of damage. It's the body's quiet agreement with time to begin again. A massive ally of time and healing is patience. For me, I always sought immediate gratification as evidence of results. If I didn't see the results immediately, I always took the experiment as a failure. This is because of my addictive tendencies. I was addicted to dopamine rewards. Whether it's to substances, approval, productivity, or even healing itself, it's the brain saying, I need evidence now that this is working, or it's not worth it. But healing doesn't operate on a visible schedule. It's microscopic and subtle at first. Neural rewiring, hormone balancing, emotional digestion, all of it happens below the threshold of instant satisfaction. When you've lived through addiction, your nervous system gets trained to equate stimulation with success. So when healing feels quiet, slow, or boring, the brain interprets it as failure. But that's actually the moment you're relearning peace. Patience isn't just waiting. It's trusting time. It's saying, even though I don't see results today, I trust that something sacred is happening underneath. That's a complete rewiring from the dopamine-driven loop to a faith-based loop. Each time you don't chase a quick reward, you're reprogramming the brain's addiction circuitry, building a new association. Peace equals progress. Over time, I realized that healing wasn't about how fast it happened, but how deeply it integrated. On a biological level, addiction shortens your brain's reward horizon. It wants to hit now. The dopamine system floods quickly and crashes hard. But when you practice patience through meditation, recovery, creative work, faith, etc., you start activating serotonin and oxytocin pathways instead. The neurochemistry of sustained satisfaction and connection. You're literally teaching your brain that slowness is safety again. What used to feel like failure, which was a lack of immediate results, is actually incubation time. Seeds don't sprout because we stare at them. They sprout because we trust the soil and show up daily with water. That's what patience really is. It's consistent action without visible evidence. That's faith in motion. I used to chase instant hits of validation from substances, people, or progress. But healing taught me that real results are quiet. They don't announce themselves with fireworks. They arrive slowly, almost like dawn. And if you rush the sunrise, you miss the beauty of watching the world light up one shade at a time. And I'm not perfect by any means. I catch myself still chasing immediate gratification. More often than I like to admit. But I'm only human. But the beauty is that time forces me to be patient in the waiting for results. And in that time, I can be mindful and think about my experiences of healing up until now, which gives me a new sense of ease and comfort in the faith that I have. What may seem like torture of the current time is just the ego's way of getting attention and trying to hijack your emotions and well-being. But we have to see it for what it is. Sometimes the best thing to do when things get especially loud is to go into the silence of meditation and ask God for the strength to overcome any hurdles that life may throw at you. After all, we are living life on life's terms, and evidence of God is the ability to overcome our struggles and grow, which is the type of healing all in itself. What I do each morning, or what I try to do each morning, because again, I'm not perfect, is I say the 7-step prayer from Alcoholics Anonymous. And it goes like this. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. Reciting this from the heart and meaning it puts faith into practice. It shows humility in time. Now, this isn't to say that time itself is the healer. It reveals what needs to be healed. Everything is tethered to time as a mirror, a reflection that shows us what's still raw beneath the surface. Time gives space for pain to echo, for patterns to emerge, for truth to rise to the surface when we're finally ready to face it. Time doesn't fix wounds. It exposes them with kindness. It stretches the distance between who we were when we were hurt and who we're becoming as we learn to live beyond it. And in that space between, that sacred pause, healing takes form. The body remembers how to breathe again. The mind begins to loosen loosen its grip. The heart learns to trust its own rhythm. So no, time doesn't do the healing. Patience does. Presence does. Faith does. Time simply holds the door open long enough for us to walk through. That pause we take in between the moments of growth is patience. It doesn't mean that time itself pauses. It gives space in between the awful eternities of the future and the past. This reminds me of a poem that I know called "Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow." And let me pull that up for you here. So the poem goes like this: Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. There are 2 days in every week about which we should not worry. 2 days which should be kept free from fear and apprehension. One of these days is yesterday, with its mistakes and cares, its faults and blunders, its aches and pains. Yesterday has passed forever beyond our control. All the money in the world cannot bring back yesterday. We cannot undo a single act we performed. We cannot erase a single word we said. Yesterday is gone. The other day we should not worry about is tomorrow, with its possible adversities, its burdens, its larger promise. Tomorrow is also beyond our immediate control. Tomorrow the sun will rise, either in splendor or behind a mask of clouds, but it will rise. Until it does, we have no stake in tomorrow, for it is yet unborn. This leaves only one day, today. Anyone can fight the battles of just one day. It is only when you and I add the burdens of those 2 awful eternities, yesterday and tomorrow, that we break down. It is not the experience of today that drives us mad. It is the remorse or bitterness for something which happened yesterday and the dread of what tomorrow may bring. Let us therefore live, but one day at a time. So this poem personifies yesterday and tomorrow as places we often live mentally, but where healing cannot happen, essentially. It shows that time itself becomes a source of suffering when we try to rewrite the past or predict the future. By contrast, today, the living moment, is the only temporal space where real transformation is possible. It's saying time doesn't heal us through movement, it heals us through focus. Yesterday has passed forever beyond our control. This line speaks to emotional acceptance, the kind that frees us from guilt, regret, and the illusion that we can undo our mistakes. In the context of healing, it means forgiveness, forgiving yourself for who you were when you didn't know better. Healing begins the moment we stop trying to edit the past and instead honor it as the soil from which we grow. Tomorrow the sun will rise, either in splendor or behind a mask of clouds, but it will rise. That's faith in time. It doesn't promise perfection, it promises continuation. Patience, in this sense, is the quiet confidence that even when we can't see the light, life is still unfolding toward balance. It's about trusting that tomorrow will bring what's needed, not necessarily what's wanted. This leaves only one day, today. That's the poem's spiritual core, the power of presence. Healing, forgiveness, peace, all of it happens in the present tense. You can't heal then or when, only now. The body regenerates now. The mind recenters now. The heart feels and releases now. And notice how I say regenerates, recenters, feels, and releases in present tense, not in past tense as if it already happened. I'm not saying the body regenerated now, that the mind recentered now, or that the heart felt and released now. I'm saying that they are playing out in the present tense. This means that we are healing in present time, not healed. We are forever growing. Healing isn't something we arrive at. It's something we practice within. We don't get healed and then move on. We are always healing in real time, moment by moment, as the body renews and as the heart reopens and the mind rebalances. That awareness keeps us humble and compassionate, both towards ourselves and others, because it reminds us no one is finished. Everyone is still unfolding. When we stop scattering our energy across time, we finally become whole in the moment, and that's where healing lives. Time doesn't heal by passing. It heals by teaching us where to place our attention. The past teaches gratitude and forgiveness. The future teaches faith and patience. The present teaches presence, the only real medicine there is. Think about what it means to live one day at a time as an addict. If we think of today as our pause throughout time, we are actually being present. And when we act in faith, asking for strength and guidance, we are met with protection, not from some distant promise, but from a presence that lives right here in this moment. We don't have to worry about being clean forever. Forever is too heavy for a human heart to carry. What we're given instead are grace periods, 24-hour pockets of mercy, one day at a time. Each day becomes its own covenant. If I stay willing, if I stay humble, if I stay present, I will be cared for. And when we awaken the next day, God willing, we receive what the big book calls a daily reprieve, a renewal of spiritual protection that comes not from control, but from surrender. It's like the universe hits refresh, giving us another chance to live with intention, to stay faithful in our protection, to walk through time without getting trapped by it. This rhythm, this divine cycle of daily surrender, it's what keeps us forever present. It's not about promising tomorrow's perfection. It's about participating in today's grace. When we trust that tomorrow will take care of itself, we free up the energy to show up fully now. That's the paradox of time and recovery. The more we live in the moment, the more time becomes our ally instead of our enemy. Faith stretches each day into eternity. Trauma is time frozen in the mind. It's the echo of a moment that never got to finish its sentence. The body, the mind, the heart, they all remember what conscious mind, or they all remember what the conscious mind tries to forget. And when something overwhelms us beyond what we can process, that energy doesn't disappear. It gets stored in time, embedded in the body like a bookmark that never got turned. That's why certain sounds, smells, or words can suddenly pull us back into old pain. Not because we haven't healed, but because part of us is still there. Part of us is still living in that suspended moment, waiting to be seen, felt, or freed. Healing then, it isn't about erasing the past. It's about reintegrating the present. When we bring presence into the space where trauma once lived, time begins to move again. The body exhales. The nervous system finally gets permission to complete what it couldn't before. Presence unlocks the freeze. It tells the body you're safe now. It tells the inner child the danger has passed. It tells the spirit you can return home. And in that moment, right there, time and healing meet. The past is no longer something that owns us. It becomes something that informs us. We stop living as the wound and start living as the wisdom that came from it. That's the alchemy of presence, the transmutation of pain into power, simply by allowing time to flow again through the spaces where it once stood still. Presence becomes most powerful when it meets stillness. Meditation isn't about emptying the mind, it's about coming home to the moment without the noise of yesterday or the anticipation of tomorrow. When we sit in silence, we step outside of the clock. We leave behind the false urgencies, the looping thoughts, the emotional reruns for a brief moment. We enter the eternal now, that space where body breathes on its own. The heart beats without effort and the spirit whispers, I'm here. Silencing the mind doesn't mean banishing thoughts. It means no longer identifying with them, letting them pass like clouds instead of storms. The worries of the past and the fears of the future lose their grip because they can't exist in the present moment. That's the miracle of meditation. It suspends time long enough for you to feel who you are beneath the chaos. Each breath becomes an act of surrender. Each exhale, a release of yesterday's weight. Each inhale, a renewal of faith in what is. And slowly, the nervous system learns safety again. Cortisol lowers, heart rate steadies, neural pathways of peace begin to take root where panic used to live. The science calls it neuroplasticity, but the spirit calls it remembering who you were. Or more so, remembering who you are. Meditation gives the mind a sanctuary, not to escape the world, but re-enter it healed. When we practice presence, we stop reacting from the past and start responding from truth. We become instruments that play in harmony with time instead of fighting against it. That's the essence of silence, not emptiness, but fullness. The kind of fullness that comes when you realize the healing you were chasing is already happening, here and now, in the quiet spaces between thoughts. Faith without works is dead, because even belief needs movement to become real. We can pray for healing, but prayer without participation is just hope without harmony. Even God works through process. When the body is injured, we can't simply will it whole. Sometimes it needs surgery, medicine, therapy, or rest. Tangible work that opens the door for time and faith to do their part. It's not a lack of faith to seek help. It's faith in action. The understanding that divine healing often comes through human hands. Faith says, I believe I can be healed. Works says, I'm willing to do what healing requires. When those two align, time becomes the bridge between effort and transformation. Just as the body needs proper care after surgery, nourishment, stillness, patience, the spirit needs consistent alignment after surrender. Meditation, recovery meetings, prayer, honesty, vulnerability. These are spiritual surgeries, cutting away what no longer serves us so that the true self can regenerate. Healing, whether physical or spiritual, is always a collaboration. Faith builds the foundation, but work builds the structure. Time then becomes the sacred space where the structure strengthens, where scar tissue turns to strength, and where gratitude replaces fear. We don't rush the healing, we honor it. We do the work we can, and we trust the work we can't. That's the partnership between faith, time, and will. divine effort working through human action. And when we find that rhythm, even our scars become symbols of faith fulfilled, evidence that grace met effort, and together they made something whole again. Now let's put the power of time and healing into practice through the 12 steps. Step 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol or our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 1 is the surrender of control over time itself. For so long, we tried to rush the healing, to fast forward the pain, to manipulate outcomes, to force growth on our own schedule. But time doesn't bend to ego, it bends to truth. Admitting powerlessness is like taking your hands off the clock. It's saying, I don't have to fix this all today. It's permission to slow down, to finally breathe. Rushing recovery is just another form of running. And running is what kept us sick. When we stop fighting the timeline and start trusting it, something miraculous happens. Clarity begins to surface. The fog lifts, not because we forced it, but because we stopped stirring it. Time, when paired with surrender, becomes a teacher. It shows us that healing unfolds in layers, not leaps. It reminds us that being powerless doesn't mean being hopeless. It means being present. Step 1 isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that the only thing we ever had control over was our willingness to let time and a higher power guide the pace of our becoming. Step 2 came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step 2 is the reintroduction of hope. Not the fragile, fleeting kind, but the kind that builds slowly through trust in something eternal. After admitting in step 1 that we were powerless, or that we are powerless, step 2 invites us to reconnect with the source of power that never runs out, the force that works quietly in time, through time, and beyond time. It's the moment we stop worshiping urgency and start believing in rhythm. Healing is rhythmic. It doesn't shout. It pulses. It mirrors nature itself. The way seasons change, the way the tide returns, the way dawn follows night without doing a thing. Step 2 asks us to tune back into that divine timing, to trust that the same intelligence that spins galaxies can heal a human heart. Sanity doesn't mean the absence of madness, it means alignment. To be restored to sanity is to be restored to truth. In addiction, our timelines get hijacked. We live in hyperspeed, chasing the next hit, the next feeling, the next validation. We burn tomorrow's peace to survive today's craving. Step 2 slows the pace back down. It tells us that sanity lives in the now, in the steady heartbeat of presence. It's not instant, it's not flashy, it's gentle. And that's what makes it powerful, because slow healing lasts. Notice that the step doesn't say we believed. It says came to believe. That's process language. It honors doubt as part of faith. We don't wake up suddenly enlightened. We grow into belief, the way a seed grows toward light it can't yet see. This is where time becomes sacred again. Each day, belief strengthens, not through proof, but through experience. We start to see evidence of something guiding us, moments of grace, unexpected strength, coincidences too precise to be random. Those moments are time's way of whispering, see, you're not alone. Faith without works may be dead, but faith without patience is blind. Step 2 isn't passive belief, it's participatory trust. It's waking up and saying, I'll do my part today, and I'll let God do the rest. It's accepting the time and divinity are co-conspirators of healing. You can't force either. You can only align with them. When we trust in a higher power, we also trust in the divine timing of that power. We begin to see how even the detours were part of the design, how the waiting, the failures, the emptiness were not punishments, but preparations. Restoration isn't an event, it's an unfolding. We may not wake up suddenly sane, but with each surrender, each act of faith, we begin to live in alignment with truth again. We start to feel safe in time, no longer rushing through it, no longer fearing it, but walking with it. We realize that the same time we once wasted in destruction is now the time being used to rebuild us. The same mind that once couldn't stop racing is now capable of stillness. The same heart that once chased chaos now beats in rhythm with peace. That's the restoration step 2 speaks of. Not a return to who we were, but a homecoming to who we've always been underneath the noise. Step 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Step 3 is the letting go that time was always asking for. It's the point in recovery where faith becomes movement, where surrender turns into action. Turning our will over doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right things and trusting the outcome to unfold in divine timing. It's saying, I'll show up, I'll do the work, and I'll let God handle the results. When we rush, we're still trying to control the clock. But when we surrender, we realize we don't need to manage every moment. We just need to be faithful within it. This step teaches us to move with time, not against it. To let patience replace panic. To trust that what's meant for us can't be missed when we're aligned with purpose. Step 3 is the great pause, where willpower meets willingness. It's where we stop trying to write the story alone and start co-authoring it with grace. Step 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 4 is the moment we pause time and turn inward. It's the courageous act of stopping the clock long enough to look honestly at what we've carried. The resentments, fears, guilt, pride, shame, and pain that shaped the rhythm of our lives. For years, many of us tried to outrun ourselves. We chased distraction, dopamine, or denial to stay one step ahead of reflection. But time always catches up, not to punish but to heal. Step 4 is where we stop running and let time do what it's been waiting to do, reveal the truth. A searching inventory means we dig deep, even into the hidden corners we've avoided. A fearless inventory means we trust that what we uncover will not destroy us, it will free us. The beauty of the step is that time becomes our ally again. The same years we once thought were wasted now become teachers. Every mistake, every hurt, every failure turns into data. Not for self-condemnation, but for self-understanding. Healing requires seeing clearly, and clarity requires stillness. Step 4 is not about perfection, it's about participation. Participating in your own evolution by facing your story without flinching. When we take inventory, we give time permission to reorder our inner world. And in that process, what once felt like chaos begins to make sense. Patterns emerge, truth surfaces, grace steps in. This is how we start to see ourselves not as broken, but as becoming whole, one honest reflection at a time. Step 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Step 5 is where time and truth finally meet face to face. In step 4, we uncovered what was hidden. In step 5, we release it. This step isn't about confession for punishment, it's about connection for liberation. When we speak our truth aloud, time loosens its grip on the moments we've been holding in shame. The memories that once owned us begin to dissolve under the light of honesty. Admitting our wrongs out loud is how we rejoin the human timeline. Addiction isolates us. It separates us from others, from God, and from ourselves. But sharing what's inside reestablishes that connection. We stop being stuck in the story of who we were and start living in the reality of who we are becoming. Time becomes sacred in step 5 because it allows for witnessing. When someone listens without judgment, we realize we are not defined by our past. We are defined by our willingness to face it. And when we tell the truth to God, we're not informing Him. We're aligning with Him. This is the moment the clock resets. The past loses its sting, the future softens its demand, and the present expands into peace. Step 5 is the spiritual exhale after years of holding our breath. Step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Step 6 it's about readiness, not perfection. It's that sacred pause between awareness and action where we stop trying to force growth and start allowing it to happen through us. This is where patience becomes power. We may see our defects clearly by now, but time teaches us that awareness doesn't equal readiness. Being entirely ready means we're no longer defending the parts of ourselves that hurt us. We're simply willing to let go when the moment comes. Healing moves at the pace of surrender. Just as a wound closes slowly from the inside out, spiritual change deepens only when we give it time to root. Rushing this step is like peeling the bandage too soon. It interrupts what God is already working on beneath the surface. Readiness isn't about saying I'm fixed. It's saying I'm willing to be transformed no matter how long it takes. That's faith in motion. Trusting that the same power that helped us survive can also help us evolve. Step 6 is where time becomes trust. And trust is what turns awareness into freedom. Step 7, humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. Step 7 is the softest and strongest moment in recovery, my personal favorite. It's where effort gives way to grace, where time itself bows to humility. By now, we've done the digging, the confessing, the facing. But step 7 reminds us healing isn't about forcing perfection. It's about allowing divine refinement. We can't white knuckle our way into purity of character. We can only invite it, humbly, honestly, and patiently. Humility isn't thinking less of ourselves. It's thinking truthfully of ourselves. It's acknowledging that change happens through us, not because of us. And that takes time, God's time. When we humbly ask for our shortcomings to be removed, we're not asking to be erased. We're asking to be refined. We're saying, take what no longer serves my growth and shape me into something that does. It's like metal in the forge. Heat, time, and surrender create strength. The same defects that once caused pain can, through time and grace, become the very sources of wisdom and compassion. Step 7 is where time and faith become one rhythm. We don't rush the transformation, we rest in it. We trust that what's meant to fall away will, and what's meant to remain will shine. Step 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step 8 is the moment when healing starts moving outward. Up until now, most of the work has been internal, uncovering, surrendering, and rebuilding. But step 8 shifts the focus to relationship, to the echoes of our actions across time, and to the people still carrying the weight of those echoes. Making a list isn't just about memory, it's about accountability. It's looking time in the eye and saying, I'm ready to face what I've left behind. But this step is just as much about willingness as it is about action. We don't rush forgiveness, not for others and not for ourselves. Time has to soften the defenses before healing can enter. In many ways, step 8 is where we begin to see how time heals relationships the same way it heals wounds. Slowly, through exposure, honesty, and patience. Some amends can happen quickly, others take years, or remain internal spiritual acts of release. What matters is our readiness, our sincerity, our openness to reconciliation in whatever form it needs to take. This step teaches that willingness is healing's first movement toward others. We can't change the past, but we can change our relationship to it. And sometimes just writing the names begins the process. Because even the thought of making things right is an act of love in motion. Step 8 is forgiveness setting its clock. Not fast, not forced, just faithfully ticking toward freedom. Step 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 9 is where faith becomes footsteps. It's where healing leaves the heart and enters the world, through courage, humility, and timing. We spent so long preparing for this moment. The reflection, the surrender, the willingness, all of it has been leading to this point of restoration. But step 9 reminds us that amends are not about clearing guilt. They're about restoring integrity. They're not about proving we've changed. They're about showing up differently in time. Timing here becomes sacred. We don't rush reconciliation just to relieve our own discomfort. We wait until the moment feels aligned, when the other person can receive it without harm, and when our motive is clean. Sometimes that means reaching out directly. Other times it means releasing it silently in prayer. Both are valid when guided by honesty and grace. When we make amends, we're not rewriting the past. We're healing the present's relationship to it. And as we do, something subtle happens. The energy we once poured into shame transforms into peace. The cycle of self-condemnation ends. Time itself feels lighter. Each amend, done in sincerity, becomes a thread of light woven back into the timeline of our lives. And over time, those threads become bridges, reconnecting us to the world, to others, and to God. Step 9 teaches us that true healing moves at the speed of love, never rushed, never forced, always right on time. Step 10, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 10 is the art of staying balanced in real time. It's not about never falling. It's about not letting time pass before we rise again. By now, we've learned that healing isn't a one-time event. It's a living rhythm. Step 10 keeps us in sync with that rhythm by turning reflection into daily habit. Instead of waiting for chaos to remind us, we stay alert and aware and humble enough to make small corrections before they grow into storms. Taking personal inventory isn't punishment, it's maintenance. It's the spiritual equivalent of tuning an instrument so that our actions stay aligned with the melody of truth. And when we find out we're out of tune, we act promptly, not to please anyone, but to keep our inner world clear. This step honors time as the teacher it's always been. We don't let resentment compound interest. We settle our emotional debts daily. We don't let guilt harden into shame. We speak, apologize, and realign. Step 10 keeps us current with ourselves. It's where humility becomes protection, not from pain, but from drifting. And each time we practice it, we strengthen the bridge between awareness and peace. In this step, healing becomes ongoing, a living flow of honesty, reflection, and course correction. We walk with time, one truth at a time, always willing to make it right, always ready to begin again. Step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Step 11 is where time slows to the speed of grace. It's not about doing more, it's about being still enough to hear. After all the steps of self-examination, surrender, and repair, this one teaches us how to stay connected to the source that made all of that possible. Prayer is how we speak to God. Meditation is how we listen. Together they create harmony, a dialogue between our will and divine will, carried out moment by moment in the quiet rhythm of time. When we enter meditation, we step outside the urgency of past and future. There, in the present, we remember that God doesn't shout, He whispers. in intuition, in peace, in alignment. And the more we practice stillness, the more fluent we become in His language. This step transforms spirituality from something we visit into something we live. It's about maintaining conscious contact, awareness that doesn't fade when prayer ends. Even in motion, even in struggle, we carry that presence with us. Time becomes sacred through prayer and meditation. It's not hours or minutes anymore, it's communion. Each breath becomes a bridge between human effort and divine guidance. Step 11 is not about asking for what we want, it's about aligning with what we're meant for. And in that alignment, peace is found, not in the absence of struggle, but in the presence of God through it. And finally, we dive into step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to addicts or alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Step 12 is the echo of every step before it, the flowering of all the inner work we've done in the soil of surrender, patience, and time. It's no longer just about survival, it's about service. It's about taking the grace that healed us and letting it flow through us to others who still suffer. The spiritual awakening isn't a lightning strike, it's the slow dawn after a long night. It's when we realize that all the pain, delay, and surrender had purpose. That the time we once cursed became the very instrument of our own redemption. Carrying the message isn't preaching, it's presence. It's the quiet testimony of living differently, of showing through our actions that freedom is possible, that healing isn't perfect, but it's real. Time deepens this awakening. Each day we live these principles: honesty, faith, humility, service. We reinforce the foundation of recovery and extend it to others. We discover that sharing keeps us whole, giving keeps us growing. Step 12 is the proof that love multiplies when given away. It turns every wound into wisdom, every loss into empathy, every moment into ministry. And in this ongoing act of service, time no longer feels like something passing. It feels like something sacred. We're not counting days anymore, we're creating them. This is the rhythm of eternal recovery: to awaken, to serve, to stay willing, one day at a time, forever present, forever becoming. Time isn't our enemy, it's our witness. It watches us fall, learn, and rise again. Not with judgment, but with patience. Healing doesn't ask us to be perfect, it asks us to be present, to trust the process, to honor the slow rewiring of body, mind, and soul, to believe that change is happening even when we can't feel it. Every day we stay sober or clean, every prayer we whisper, every fear we face, we're teaching time what faith looks like. We're showing the universe that we're willing to grow at the speed of grace. And maybe that's what real healing is. Not being free from struggle, but walking through it with open hands, trusting that God, patience, and time are all working together for our restoration. So as you step into today, remember, you are not who you were yesterday. You are not yet who you'll be tomorrow. You are becoming right here, right now. One breath at a time, one choice at a time, one day at a time. And that brings us to the end of our episode. So we'll close this by saying thank you, and remember to stay surrendered and stay in tune. Thank you. We'll talk again soon. Bye.